Good evening, everyone. A new record was set last Saturday as SpaceX launched two Falcon 9s only 38 minutes apart. But meanwhile, satellite operators are in panic mode amid signals from SpaceX that the Falcon 9 is winding down. Space Angel gets a $1.75 million grant from the West Australian government for a spaceport plan. Seraphim Space is launching a space tech ETF. Jared Isaacman is confident Artemis 3 will launch next year. But remember last week when NASA put out a lunar resource map? Well, China just did the same, and it indicates some big lunar ambitions on their part. And it seems some of the canceled Gateway hardware will be repurposed for the Artemis moon base, like we were talking about. Here it comes. Some are saying the recent lunar impact by the upper stage could pose a tangible operational risk for lunar bases and settlements, and that's creating a big brouhaha. The EU, as we've also suggested, is now between a rock and a hard place with regard to the economics of launch. And there's a new term that's catching on. It's called deorbit as a service. And some real money is coming in. And Novaspace claims in-orbit service market will generate $3 billion over the next decade. All this and our returning guest, Joe Latrell. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. And as you know, this program is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And what do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our legendary pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, in addition, this podcast, which has become a crown jewel of all our activities, is largely supported by our listeners and fans like you. So if you just go to cscf.space/support and click that plain as day donate button, $10, $25, $50, $100 even is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it makes a big difference for us. And it's U.S. tax deductible. So don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. Now, speaking of friends, my longest space friend, Michael Lane, who just finished carving his own hand of Fatima to ward off the evil eye, is here with us. Michael, come on in.
Hey, how are you?
I got a million of them. They're going to go on forever, man.
A million of them. I actually try to not read that paragraph when you send the script. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what he's going to say. But
I said, well, actually, when I sent the script, it still left in the one from last time.
Yep.
And I realized it when I sent it. I thought, oh God, I got to put Michael in. What am I going to do? Oh, here's one. Yeah.
Here we go. Very fun. How's things? How's Florida?
Florida, it's still swampy every damn day. My electricity bill is sky high still, despite everything I've done, to try to cool things down. My God, yes. Thank you, Sean. Sean says he has swamp ass. I don't know what that is. It's some kind of a syndrome. I hope he doesn't have to change his shorts every few hours. I don't know.
when I lived in Virginia, I felt like I would just melt.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are good here. Kind of quiet. I feel like a change of phase is happening, right?
Yep.
I finished a bunch of stuff I was supposed to get done for the summer. It's done, tucked away and finished. I feel pretty good about that. And now it's time to pick up the next thing, whatever that might be, right? And I think I know what it's going to be, but
yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I went through a weekend of just over some things that were happening in the background.
Yeah.
What the F am I doing worrying about this shit?
Right.
Focus on what matters. Be your highest self. Get up there and just we're gonna make things work. I don't care how it's gonna work. I don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's gonna work.
Yep.
I know it's gonna work. All of it. And so we're on our way, man. We're on our way with a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a change. Like things
Yeah,
are
changes,
things are starting to happen, and it feels
changes
good.
in the wind,
So
absolutely. And
yeah.
speaking of that, we alluded to it when we were showing those pages, but we have a new sponsor. It's an old sponsor who decided to sponsor this, but
Right.
in this case, uh, we're bringing back the micro grants, the monthly micro grants,
Yay.
$1,000 micro grants. In fact, our guest tonight was a beneficiary of one of those, and look how far he's gotten. And
Yeah.
so, these are things we're going to be talking about that a lot in future shows too, and we're going to have to rotate back in the schedule a little bit.
Mhm.
Ideally, if we get all our ducks in a row, we will be launching September 1st.
Oh, that quickly.
Yes,
That's great. All right.
because I'm supposed to expect the check this week. So I mean, let's just do it. And
Yeah.
so September 1st, we launch it. We have maybe by September 20th or so, we close down that first month and we make our announcement end of September, and then 1st October, the first show in October, we get to bring them on for a few minutes. And
I
so
love that.
so we're going to have to start planning for that. And so,
Okay, that's good. I'm excited about that.
so it's going to start. It's going to start in a couple of weeks, but I don't actually have to give out any money until October 1st. So,
all right.
but we're in good shape. There it is, microgrants.
I'm going to grab the link. And I want to reiterate that this is not open yet. Not open yet.
Wait until it's open, because I think we have some. I think I have some work I got to do on the website to
Right.
make sure it's updated. And so let's not. Well, maybe we shouldn't have put that link up there, but okay. Well, Spotify people won't care.
Right. Yeah.
They won't see the link. That's all right. We'll just move forward with that. I just want to make that announcement. It's happening.
That's exciting. I really love that program. I think it's really cool.
I have 11 news items. We're gonna have to race through them a little bit.
Zip. Let's go. Let's do it.
So the first one, SpaceX set a record. They launched 2 flights, one from Vandenberg and one from the Cape, within 38 minutes of each other.
Bonkers. That's so great.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. They're already working on building more facilities and spending crap tons of money on that. And so we're gonna see this a lot more. I think if Musk get his way, he would see a launch every 30 minutes, 24/7.
Right.
Just keep going, right? I have 5 launch facilities, and I can just keep rotating and putting them through.
Right. Well, I know we're trying to do this quick, but is that the next? Yeah. Let's go to the next article, because
the next one is
that puts the launchpad problem into perspective.
And that's why I put them back to back, because
Yep.
They already hinted they want to wind down the Falcon 9.
Yeah.
And in favor of starships, presumably, I guess. And so they want to put the resource into that. But a lot of people are starting to go into full panic mode.
Mm-hmm.
Because for how many years? 18 years or something, the Falcon 9 has been a very reliable, dependable given in everybody's life. And so for them to say, well, we're going to just drop doing that and do this other thing instead. And a lot of sat operators who have contracts going forward years.
Right. Yeah.
Are going, hey, wait a minute. Now what?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much I really respect Gwen Shotwell, but she has said that the operational lifetime of the Falcon 9 may end in 2030 or 2032, but they're winding down operations in 2028 for most customers. So great, bring on Starship, but Starship by itself is not the whole story. So
well, they got to give them an offer saying, well, if we don't have your Falcon anymore, okay, we're going to put you on Starship for the same money or even a reduced rate, because we're supposed to be, the big discount guys now.
Right. Yeah.
We can now launch 20 of you at the same time.
Right.
Think they
Yeah,
will?
we got a plan. Everybody has a plan that's kind of fixated on this workhorse. Sean wrote a pretty interesting set of articles basically saying if you took SpaceX out of the equation, America is actually playing catch up,
Yeah.
which, that's right. We became so dependent on this monopoly that we're now, and this is no slap to Blue or Rocket Lab or maybe someday Relativity or Astra or anybody else, but we need access to space, and
Yeah.
for them
Well,
to
you know who
realize.
this opens the door for specifically? I mean, I know you're a fan of the local talent like Stoke and places like
Yeah,
but Rocket Lab,
yeah,
they are
yeah,
poised.
yeah. They really are. They're in the right spot for sure.
I think it's something I had to leave out. Maybe I didn't. I'll have to look later. They just signed another deal for Neutron.
Yeah.
So this stuff's coming fast.
Yep.
Watch
Yep.
the value chain. Yeah. Well, Sean, you may have a point. And Jason's right. It is an opportunity for industry leaders,
Right.
but they have to start leading. Then,
Yeah.
is the issue there. So,
well, how long will it take Rocket Lab to have 2 flights in 38 minutes? Right. That's
they're going to have to catch up to that.
But they did that. What's it called? Victus Nox or whatever it was. Victory of the Night. They flew in a matter of less than 20 hours. I forget what the actual number was, but 20 hours from start to finish, from notification from Space Force to flight, and so they definitely are on path to kind of come to the rescue of this industry, but that was a one-shot deal. They did twice, but yeah. All right. So let's have more launch pads, more capability, more rockets, but more launch pads. And
here we go.
We're going to talk about that on Thursday with Murata.
Absolutely. And that's the latest thing. And the Western Australian government handed a company called Space Angel a $1.75 million grant for a spaceport plan.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still about building it. And of course, I would say the middle of nowhere, but there's a lot of middle of nowhere in Australia.
That's a lot of empty.
Pick a spot on a map, put a pin in it here. We'll do it there, mate. We'll just launch it right there. Is there a road? Yeah, we'll make one.
that is
a $1.75 million.
I like your accent. I really dig your accent.
I try. Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Thank God.
There's a big bunch of empty out there, though, by that picture, though. Wow.
Yeah. Thank God they're not building a launch complex in Minnesota. Now that'd be kind of awful, don't you know? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, here's a big one though. Seraphim Space. I have a love-hate relationship with Seraphim Space. I love what they're doing, but they'll never give us any money.
Right.
The Seraphim Space, but they're launching a space tech ETF.
So I don't really know what an ETF is. So can you back up and talk about what that is first?
Oh, it's an exchange traded fund, is what it is. So you set up an investment fund of some kind, and then you monetize it like it's a stock, and you're selling shares on the market.
Okay. All right.
Traded fund. So you're saying shares of this fund. We set up a fund. Let's say maybe 100 million in it, and we're going to invest in stuff. And you can buy shares and watch your shares go up and down.
How different is that from a mutual fund? Is the mutual fund private? I think.
Yeah. It's usually set up through banks and
Okay. All right.
Lending institutions of investment, large banking institutions.
Yeah, those things came online a couple of years after I left, so I never really paid that much. All right, so good. So there's a ETF for space. there are a couple others. Like there are other groups that have been doing this.
Well, they're not the first to do it, but they're Seraphim. You
Yeah.
see, and so they got the name recognition and the and Sean's right. We could create our own, but I knew guys like that a long time ago. Yeah, I have a this that fund or that this and that a fund. You know, it's like a hedge fund, especially hedge funds. Oh, is there any money in it? That's kind of the key. It's like all the alt currencies that are out there, all the cryptos. The crypto is only as good as the number of people who use it,
right,
for something.
Right.
So, so there's that. So Seraphim's doing that. So that's some money in space. Well,
hold on. Am I reading this right? They raised 137 million pounds.
They prompted them to raise 137 million pounds via C share issuance, and they began trading.
Yeah, so this is a thing. This exists. Then I did not know about this.
It is a retail. It's definitely a retail offer, though. That's why it's exchange traded funds. It's a retail thing.
Okay, all right.
So, and ETFs have been around a long time.
Wonder why this is being posted in the Scottish Financial News.
Well, because I don't know. That's a good question, because it must have something to do. Maybe Will Whitehorn is a native of Scotland or something. I don't know.
All right. Moving on. We got a lot to do here.
Lots to do here. Okay, Jared Isaacman is extremely confident Artemis 3 will launch next year.
Outstanding.
He says it publicly and pounds his fist on the podium.
Right.
And so I just thought that was worth noticing. He's extremely confident to test rendezvous and docking operations between Orion and test versions of 2 human lunar landing systems, supposedly. But that's interesting is wet dress rehearsal is planned for November.
That is my birthday. I want to go down there and
yeah.
Huh. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Stay confident. Do the thing. Let's make it happen.
That's right. But then China comes up with a new moon map.
Yeah.
Remember last week we talked about NASA is putting out all their lunar data, 60 years of lunar data, and they put in a map that shows mapping of where all the resources are. Well, I guess China got some of their own data and did some jiggering of their own map, and it has even more stuff in certain areas than people realized, and also they say helps underscore the kind of ambitious program that they're going to want to do. I mean, if they're seeing more of a certain resource that they like, they're going to be expending more resources to go get it and establish a base and establish a facility. So it's kind of advertising their future lunar ambitions, according to the critics reading it.
Yeah. I kind of
dig this. They keep going on and on and on. They do not stop.
Nope. They set a target and then they put money into it and then they hit the target and then they do the next thing.
But this next one, here's the brutal irony. I love this one because I actually talked about it and nobody believed me at the time because first they're in the beginning.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought we were still on the moon. No.
In the beginning, they were building Gateway.
Right.
In the middle, they were saying, well, actually, ESA's going to build Gateway, but we're going to pay for some of it. And then Gateway was canceled. And then what did I say? They're probably, if they're smart, they'll probably recycle some of that stuff for use on a lunar base or something. And everybody went, oh, no, Tom, you're out of your mind. It was built for space. It wasn't built to be a lunar surface. Well, guess what they're doing?
Right. You can't have a big asset like that just sitting stagnant. Like somebody's going to want it. Hell, I wanted it for a space station for Liftport, but
I guess especially the big modules that Thalassemia we're building with Northrop Grumman. Those big modules, they want to get those and repurpose them.
Yeah.
For the Artemis base itself. So, okay, I think it's a great idea. Save a few bucks. Already paid for it. Just turn it into something.
Yeah, the environment is not that much different. Yeah, it's just a big asset just sitting there ready to ship out to somebody.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it might go to Europe, though. I was a little surprised that we reclaimed it. Because remember, other parts of this went to Europe.
Yep. And I thought that was one of them because it was built by Thalassania.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
So maybe they're paying them, or something else is happening, or they're being allowed access rights to the station that's going to become more international in scope in ways that they're not telling us about.
NASA's like, hold my beer. We're going to take that back. Just kidding. Right. Yeah.
So the canceled Halo space station module is being put to productive use.
Good.
I'm glad. I love how they said that.
Well, I mean, there's so much about that program that they just threw under a bus. It's nice that they've been able to capture some value out of it.
Well, I thought Gateway was just nonsense to begin with. There's only about 5 people left in the community who still believed in it, including David Brin, who's kind of a
I was not as angry about it as other people. It was a stretch. It was a stretch, but I wasn't as angry about it as other people were, because I do see the value of getting back there and kind of claiming our real estate. And for the politics of it, I was still okay with it. But
but I just love to watch the Zubrin reaction. That was the most fun thing I ever saw. It's like putting a 50-cent piece in the slot and turning pushing the buttons for the song and what music comes out, right? Mm-hmm. Oh God, that was funny. 3 minutes, pick out the stories. Oh, I'm already getting yelled at. See, we're not going fast enough. So what do I need? Okay, SpaceX's rocket moon crash highlights a tangible operational risk of lunar settlement. And someone had to bring that up. And let's, the odds of, we're probably going to, where I see from this is expended upper stages. We're already doing things with lower stages and landing them or force crashing them in a way that's not harmful. And so I imagine what's going to come next is upper stages. They're going to do the same thing.
Sure. But until then, remember, I have a very fragile piece of infrastructure that is tall and thin. I don't want things just randomly landing on the moon. That is not okay for me.
Nope,
and
not at all.
And it's not okay for any of our friends and allies. So, yeah. All right, moving on quick.
Okay, here is actually.
Are we going to cut? Sorry, are we going to cut this, or are we going to do one more?
No, let's see. Okay. Hold on, I got one more thing after this one. This is important. Okay. Europe's stuck between a rock and a hard place on launch, and so it turns out the economics of reusables are pretty good, and Europe really doesn't have any yet, and so they're stuck. And that's the rock. Mm-hmm. And the rock is we keep going with reusables that are made in America, or we pay a lot more for our own homegrown stuff. And if they want to start catching up and being sovereign about the whole thing, this is that's a tough nut for them to crack.
Yeah, it is hard. They're right.
Okay. I got a couple more I wanted to do, but I'll skip ahead. There's actually, you know what? Boom, boom, boom. Oh no, actually we can do both. It'll take 30 seconds. Because there's this new term, they're calling it deorbit as a service. And there are at least 3 companies out there doing this now. And we know a couple of them. And there's a new one called Catalyst Space. And they were just selected by the Defense Innovation Unit.
Right.
And so, but this is becoming a thing.
These are the same folks that are in that spinning spiral rescue mission for Swift a couple weeks ago. That's Catalyst also. So this is what they're trying to do. That's their brand.
And final one, Nova Space says that in the in-orbit services market is going to go up to about $3 billion over the next decade. $3 billion in revenue.
Nice.
I think they're under predicting it, frankly. A decade's a long time. We've seen what happened in the last decade.
Yeah.
I think it could be a lot more than that. But
I think so. I think it's going to grow for sure. I know 3 significant orgs that are heading to the moon that need regular transit, just back and forth. So yeah, 3 billion sounds a little light. Yeah, I think 3 billion is light for sure.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. We made the announcement, of course, the brief announcement about the micro grants are coming back, and we got a whole year's worth. We can, plus a little program support, so that helps a lot. And we're relaunching on September 1st. Well, our returning guest tonight, is one of our original micro grant recipients who made good and is a great friend of the show and does very, very well. And he's got some things he wants to announce for his own company, Cube Inc. And so tonight, Joe Latrell is back with us for some big updates and announcements. Come on in, man.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
Good. What's up, man?
Oh, chaos and mayhem. What else?
Okay, cool.
No, we've got a lot of cool things that are happening, and well, I'd like to share them with the audience here, and you guys agreed, and I mean, this all stems from, like you said, the micro grant. We've been able to print some new components and test some new things, and yeah, we're just doing some amazing stuff here. So, at least we like to think it's pretty amazing. So, this is some cool a new spin on what a lot of other people are doing right now, as far as material sciences, and we think we've got a little bit of a winner here. We're going to throw our hat in the ring.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. I sent Sean a presentation. Let's see if it will actually work. All right. Okay, not exactly there's no way to do a full screen or anything on it. Oh well, we got what we got. Okay, so we were looking at this whole micro satellites and using them with a manufacturing materials process. We've been working with Michael on building one for Liftport, and we thought, well, maybe there's something that we can do that would really, really make this kick over. And so we've invented a micro manufacturing satellite that is probably the smallest that has ever been built, that is, fully functional. So if we can go to the next slide, this is what Aurora is. We've talked about Aurora before on here. This is the satellite base that we use. And to put the size of this in context, well, you can see it's next to a Coke can there. This is a very, very small satellite. Okay. I didn't have regular Coke. I don't know why I had a Diet Coke in the fridge, probably because I don't drink it, and it's been sitting there for a while, so it made a great prop. But that gives you an idea of the scale that we're talking about here.
Well, it never ages. So.
Well, that's true. So, okay. Well, this is now what we call the Aurora Material Science Lab. And it is a 90 millimeter by 70 millimeter by 50 millimeter space designed specifically for doing material science. Again, using that Coke can as a reference, we've got a little box there around what this thing actually is. That's how tiny it is. It's very, very tiny. But with it, we're able to do standardized. It's a standardized spacecraft. The architecture and configuration are all standard. All the mechanical, electrical, thermal, all that fun stuff, we take care of that. You don't have to worry about that. As a payload, you just have to worry about what goes in your little box. And then your box connects to our bigger box, and then we launch the bigger box, and then we send back your data. So you can do all kinds of fun things, integrated experiments. You can do sensing tests. If you're doing materials tests, you can have cameras and temperature sensors all around what you're working on, so we can do a complete monitoring of what's happening. And it's completely autonomous. Once you program it, it does what it needs to do. If you want to communicate with it, we have a dashboard, we have APIs, tie it right into your own back end. Your science in space going straight to your systems. That's the plan. So it's like you build the box, you give it to us, and the next thing you know, we launch it, you're getting data, and you can go about your experiments and working with your materials. So, yeah, that's what we're trying to build. And some of the areas we're looking at, if we can go to the next slide, I know this is not exactly easy. Thank you for doing all of this. Okay. So let's say you need some materials and you need to test how long they're going to survive in space. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They're on the lift port side. We're doing a durability test for them. And so what are the radiation effects on your materials? What does atomic oxygen do? Does the vacuum of space actually damage what you're working on? Okay. The idea is to build a satellite with this payload inside it, and you can do a long duration experiment and get the information you need. This is very different from what the shuttle did back in the day. Remember, they had that big, huge lab. They launched it into space. They were going to retrieve it a year later. And a little accident happened in between, and it was several years before they got it back. Well, the way we do it is it doesn't matter for retrieval. We're sending you the information in real time as we're going around the planet. Because of the way we build this, and again, the 3D printer has been very helpful in this regard, thank you. We can build a space self-contained that can allow you to do things like testing, welding, or in-space manufacturing. You want to do a robotic assembly, you can put it inside there and you can actually make it work. So it's extreme miniaturization for the support, and here's a box. Go have fun. That's what we like to say. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So what else can you do? How about some functional materials testing? All right, this kind of draws back to that whole atomic oxygen, long duration. But there are things like, do you want to test batteries? Do you want to test solar cells? Do you have a semiconductor you want to try in space? Do you have a new microprocessor that you want to give a workout to, and you want to put it in the real environment? Simulated environments are great, but simulations only go so far. You got to put the stuff in space eventually. So here, let's put it in space. Let's test it out. And also, finally, we can do bioengineering in life sciences. You can't get the materials back. Okay, so this is running, again, remote experiments that allow you to look at reactions or life sciences tests that you don't want to do here on Earth. Organelles is one that I've heard thrown about a lot. We could you could actually assemble a miniature liver or kidney inside this capsule and test how it grows in the microgravity environment in low Earth orbit. So that's some of the things that you can do in this little tiny space. So, next slide. Okay, so here's the way, this is our motto that we're going with: define, integrate, and fly. Start small, fly fast, learn sooner. That's what we've got to do. Because this is smaller and faster, the costs are minimal compared to, you're not paying millions of dollars to test a material in space anymore. Okay, it's down to a few $100,000. Yeah, that's still expensive. But when you look at pharmaceuticals, where some of those tests have been costing them upwards of 50, $60 million each,
Hmm.
500,000 starts to sound rather reasonable. So while it's not everybody who has a basement lab can build something and test it, we are trying to move that needle down further and further so that more people can access space. Just like you mentioned with the whole deorbit as a service is a thing, this material science as a service is going to be, I think, even bigger than the deorbit market. There's just not enough room on these up and coming commercial space stations to house all of these experiments. And some of them you don't want people nearby. NASA is not going to run a welding test on the space station. Okay, it's not going to happen.
No.
Most
What could go
commercial
wrong?
operators, if you say, "Yeah, I want to do a welding test in space,"
Yeah.
they're not going to want to talk to you. This is a way of doing that type of experiment safely and without risking either the public or your astronauts while you're doing it. So that's the whole thing in a nutshell. We've got material science now down to a kit.
A science.
Into a science,
A
right?
material science kit.
Look at this.
Yeah.
So you're just throwing this out there and hoping some folks will sign on. I mean, who are you going after for your initiative?
We actually have
How aggressive are you being?
Yeah, besides Liftport, we already have a few customers who are interested in using this as a material science system. Yeah, so the particular markets we're going after are really, when we're looking at materials, we're looking at the long duration stuff right now. The people who are building components for space stations or spacecraft who have been stuck on Earth because they couldn't afford to do the final step, which is get it on orbit and do the long duration. This allows them to do that, and that's the first market we're targeting. We're going to be approaching the bioengineering and pharmaceutical markets soon, but I really need a specialist in that area. If there are any specialists in pharmaceuticals want to talk to us, give me a call. We're always looking for those magical people. There's my plug.
Great.
But yeah, really it's the material science engineers, those companies who have been working on stuff for a long time and just cannot get that last mile completed. So that's what we're working on now with those folks.
I'm gonna bring up Dallas's question. I'm gonna give you a shot to answer it, Joe, and then I'm gonna give my own answer.
Okay,
why can't the welding experiment be done in the Bishop airlock?
Again, welding, what type of welding you have to do in space? You're either using a thermite welding system, maybe a stir welding, or your typical heat. If something were to go wrong with that experiment, and you're going to create heat, okay, how are you going to do that? That's going to use electricity. That's a huge spike in electrical draw. Are you bringing your own batteries? Well, now you have a new battery problem to worry about, because you have to have those batteries go through the same certification process to be used in the Bishop airlock. It's just one thing compounds on top of another if you're going to try and do this. And yeah, you could probably get through it. Do you have a check that is in the multi-millions of dollars to do that? And that's where it really becomes well, maybe they will let you, but the price tag is going to be something you can't afford.
I'm going to add to that, Dallas. My information is outdated, but Justin Kugler hand walked our proposals through the CASIS office 6 times, 6 different proposals to do carbon nanotube development on orbit. And every one of them was declined. We don't have information about why they were declined. Mostly it was CASIS was interested in biotech and not material sciences. But when we said we wanted to build a furnace, they were like, nope. And the furnace is, I think, much more controllable than welding. Mm-hmm. So that's my experience. And that goes back to maybe 2000. 2015, maybe 2014 timeframe. So two different pieces of knowledge there, but I definitely found it very difficult to get. I got nothing up on the space station. I tried a bunch of times. So
Yeah, you have an extremely limited supply on the space station. Okay, because an astronaut's time is valuable, and it's amazing that when SpaceX started flying Dragon, that an extra astronaut gave them the ability to double the amount of time the entire team was doing on research. So research minutes are very, very valuable and expensive, and you have to have a very good thought out proposal. You basically have to know the answer before you launch. You're just validating, and you have to be willing to pay for it. So yeah, like Jason is saying here in the comments, NASA will be glad to do it for you for tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, but they do not mess around with heat.
I don't think that Jason's right on this one. Actually,
they sent an oven. Why is it that they can't bake cookies in space? Okay, they sent an experiment.
What do that experiment?
Yeah, they did that experiment. Hilton paid for part of it, but they did this whole experiment. They made a couple of cookies. They sent the whole thing back to Earth, and they did not leave the oven up there. Meanwhile, over on the Chinese space station, they're grilling every night. So,
is that real? That's not sarcasm.
That's not sarcasm. They actually have an oven. They cook food on the Chinese space station.
I didn't know that. I should look that up. That's pretty neat.
It's different, but they've shown it numerous times where the crew sits down to a hot meal that wasn't rehydrated with water.
I'm going to toss this note up from Jason. So that's a verified number, right? $186,000 per hour for astronauts unsupported. I think I've heard that before. I have not looked that one up myself, so I cannot verify, but I think I've heard something like that before. That the price per hour for an astronaut's insane.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this model of yours, right? So what's a price tag to send a widget up? You've got some numbers in mind. And where's your bottleneck?
The bottleneck, I'll start with the bottleneck. The bottleneck is launch.
Okay.
And for as much as SpaceX launches, when you really look at it, SpaceX does the bulk of their launch for SpaceX. And the companies that we had hoped to come along and provide more launch capability are still fighting with it. Firefly's on their Alpha 2.0. Then you've got Stoke, who's still working because they're doing full reusability. Relativity Space, they launched once and then went back and built a bigger one. Rocket Lab, they're working on Neutron, and they're launching a lot with their Electron, but they're booked solid. So where are you going to go? That's still the bottleneck. We work with smaller launchers that are coming online. InnoSpace is one of them. But we're also looking at, who are these other up-and-comers that might, I think Astra might be able to get back in the game, hopefully. Okay. So I see them as a potential launch provider. We've got Phantom Aerospace that also might be one. So hopefully these launchers are coming online. But once that bottleneck is relieved, then the problem is solved.
And your pricing is the satellite plus the launch, right?
Yeah, we do the satellite, the launch, the insurance, and we help monitor your payload on orbit. And our starting price for that whole thing is $350,000.
Wow,
that's pretty low. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be too low. We'll find out. If we suddenly get inundated, we're going to raise the price. But but our objective is
don't be Axiom. Price it properly.
Right.
Yeah. But when we say 350,000, that's to start. The more complex, the more time it takes. Yes, that's going to add on to it. But if you already have your experiment pretty much ready to go, and then we can work with the FAA and the FCC and NOAA and all those other regulatory agencies, then we can get things moving rather quickly. The objective is from the time that you give us the experiment to the time that it's on orbit is measured in months, not years.
Right.
Love that.
That's the most important part. Of course, Sean's making his comments. Don't raise your price until after we use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. So you're really about the integration. You're not inventing a new welding system. They got to bring it to you. You're not inventing some new, lab on a chip tech.
No.
They're going to have to bring their thing, whatever their thing is, miniaturize it to fit in the box that you're providing, and then they have to validate their side of it, right?
Yes.
You're not inventing a new welding system or a new lab on a chip. All right.
No,
so
we can guide to help the experiment be miniaturized because that is a specialty, but we don't build it. You're very, very, very clear on that. We don't build it. If you want us to do that, we can do that, but it's extra. And $350,000 gets you integrated in the spacecraft, covers everything we talked about earlier, and gets you on orbit so that you can get your data. And we're looking at using S and X band for our communications, so we'll be able to get data back to you relatively quickly. If you want video, it's going to have to be X band, and it can't be continuous yet. But maybe someday we'll get a Starlink terminal that's small enough to fit on the side of our spacecraft, and we'll just deploy a Starlink and become your experiments a node on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's touch. Somebody's kind of touched on this remotely. When you're making something that small, because there's always this problem in the satellite industry. It's been on forever. Any sensitive equipment that you send up there, even a KU band transponder that we use at Ave Alto, it has to be built for the satellite market. It has to be built to withstand the first 30 minutes of its life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's colloquially known as space hardening. When you make something that small and put some kind of complex experiment in it, how much hardening can you do, or can you at all?
There are some techniques for hardening, mainly when you look at let's say it's a mechanical system you're looking at. You really want to make certain that they're, for their size, overbuilt or over-engineered. So yeah, the space hardening for electronics, give it up. The objective is to test your equipment for space hardening. Like our electronics are commercial off the shelf. We use that wonderful printer to print our radiation shielding that we use around our microprocessors. So if what you're testing for is radiation, then yeah, there's no hardening involved at all. If you want your experiment hardened, that's a lot of work, and you can start adding a zero at the end of that number, because it just becomes very, very expensive to do. The idea is to be inexpensive enough that the risk of not being as space hardened as, say, something going to ISS pays for itself.
How long does your widget stay in the sky, and where? Does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. We can operate anywhere between 600 and 350 kilometers. I know I did those numbers backwards. 600 kilometers will get you up there. We run the mission for 5 years, and then we automatically dump it. Okay, we're not going to try and push the hardware beyond a 5-year limit. Commercial off the shelf, know what your lifespan is. Okay, so 5 years, we're going to deorbit. If we're at 350 kilometers, then you've got about 2 years between the propellant that we have on board and that low of an operating altitude. You can look at about 2 years of operation. Yeah, atmosphere, it hurts. And it's like, okay, at 350 kilometers up, there's not a lot of atmosphere. No, there isn't, but there's enough.
There's enough.
Yeah. And at 17,500 miles an hour, nearly 30,000 kilometers an hour, it doesn't matter how thin it is, you're going to have drag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And so that's what you're depending on for your end of life. Aero braking.
Yeah, pretty much aero braking. We do have a watchdog on board our satellites. This is a standard component to our vehicles. Mm-hmm. If the watchdog doesn't receive a signal from the CPU and cannot revive the satellite after a certain period of time, it orients it into a flat into the airstream and forces a deorbit. So.
Okay. So that watchdog, you codenamed it Leica, right?
No, but I'm going to do that now.
That's good.
That's beautiful. I didn't even think about that. That is gorgeous.
I love that. Yeah. Leica. Sure. That's a good idea.
And we're doing all this. I see Jason say, yes, we do this from a shop in Pennsylvania rather than in California or Colorado or say at Seattle. Those are the places that all this is, the supposedly all the activity is going on. And the reality is we live in a global economy. You can put this shop anywhere. Eventually, I want to be able to put a shop on the moon, but I don't know if I'll live long enough to see that.
You will. We'll make sure of it.
Yep.
Is any of this stuff insured? That's kind of Jason's question here.
Yes, we insure the payload for a relaunch. So that's pretty much what we don't try and insure for more than that. So if you want insurance on your particular science experiment performing, that is a different story. But as far as launch and operations on orbit, yes, we carry that insurance. So yeah, that's a fun number to play with. Just going to let you guys know that right now.
So I guess the next big announcement will be, we got a customer. We signed a customer today.
Yep. We do have, like I said, we are working with Liftport, so they are pretty much customer number one for this operation. I do want to announce our other customer here soon, and I'm just waiting for them to actually,
say yes,
commit the deposit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll know it's real. I know that's a cynical way of looking at things, but that's business today.
Yeah. Can you describe in broad strokes what the customer is, or is it none of our business?
They're looking at space hardening some electronics, testing what they've done to see whether or not it actually works.
Nice. Yeah. And Sean's in the background is like, all right, we'll bring you on for the announcement. And yes, this is the correct way of looking at things in the space industry. Yeah, don't make pre-announcements for what you're gonna do. Tell us what you've done, right?
Yep. And yeah, that's why when you look at the slides I had, it's great. Anybody can AI generate just about anything, and I'm not gonna lie, some of those things are AI generated.
Sure.
But the picture of the satellite next to a Coke can, that's real.
That's real. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We've got about 6 minutes left. That's kind of where we usually break to talk about the future. I feel like most of this conversation is the future. You made a comment earlier, riffing off of our news, where Nova Space said that the in-space servicing was going to be a $3 billion market in the next 10 years. And you made a comment about, well, that material science testing on orbit is a $3 billion. Is that a gut reaction, or do you have something to back that up? Like, what are you thinking there?
When you look at, if you do a real market analysis on the bottleneck, again, let's get down to the reality is the bottleneck of being able to do things. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you can relieve that bottleneck, that is gold. Right.
Yeah.
I do see that bottleneck is going to not go away completely, especially if SpaceX dumps out of the market. It's going to get worse.
Yep.
But what if they're dumping out of the market on Falcon 9 to put all of that on Starship? Can you imagine what rideshare on Starship is going to look like? How cheap that could possibly be?
Yeah.
Okay. That clears the bottleneck near instantly.
Right.
In which case, 30 billion is a low number. Because we still, one of the arguments that I make for space is we still do not have that killer app. We don't know what it is yet.
Yep.
And yep. What if we could send a satellite a little bigger than what we have now, but we collect stem cells from you, we put it into a lattice, we launch it in space, and then we recover a liver for transplant.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
If you could get that price down to $60,000, is that worth it?
Well,
yeah.
The other thing I was thinking of too, with your, these little devices, is that you can put all sorts of equipment in there to do imaging and all sorts of little things. And since Starship is so big, you could launch a swarm of hundreds of these things all out there at once and start really exploring the solar system, right, and just sending them all out to all sorts of weird places and see what we get. And about once a year, you keep doing that until we have 10,000 of them exploring every aspect of the solar system, every asteroid in the belt. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get, and it's cheap, and it could be an amazing way to do it.
Yes, it's why send one satellite to orbit Mars and do the research when you can send 24, 48, 100. The amount of data that you can collect, even though each individual node does not collect as much as the larger one would, each individual node adds to the collective of information. Boy, I just sounded like the Borg there, didn't I?
I was just going to say, make a Borg reference. Right.
But I've always been fascinated by the von Neumann probe, or von Neumann probe.
Yeah.
I think that is something we need to start looking at seriously for the solar system.
Yeah. But you see 100 of them on Mars, 100 of them go to Ganymede, 100 of them go to Titan, 100 of them, and you just keep doing it.
I've referenced the Starship Singularity at least 50 times on this show. Go look up the Starship Singularity. It's a pretty interesting paper. It talks about the future. It has a very militaristic slant to it because that's the author, but it should kind of give you perspective on what the near future looks like. Yeah.
That's a very interesting take on how things are going to be. The Starship Singularity. Do read it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have any other predictions for your last 2 minutes? Or
this is going to sound so far out there, but I believe that by 2040, we're not only going to have a hotel on the moon and easy transport back and forth, but you're going to see the first entertainers on the moon. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Not filming movies and stuff, but I mean, can you imagine a live concert performance coming to you live from the moon?
Okay, but you're not getting an expansion team for the WNBA anytime soon.
Can you imagine what basketball would be like in 1/6G?
Oh yeah. Those things that Doug wants to build are 3 stories tall. You're going to need all 3 stories to do that slam dunk, but someone will do it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, Caitlin Clark. Can you imagine what a 3-pointer looks like?
Man, yeah. Yeah, it won't be from the logo. It'll be all the way back at the other end.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Block this.
Yep.
Right. Love it. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you. You guys have a great night now. Okay.
On that, yes, Joe Latrell back again doing wonderful things. Okay, Thursday, Tom Murata is back with us. He's founder of the Spaceport Company, and we're going to talk about spaceports again and where we're going to build them next. I'm sure he's got lots of amazing ideas, and we can't wait to hear about them. And so, on that note, for Sean Key and Michael Lane, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.